Hey guys, it's Gwen again. I'm here today to do something that I saw another creator do, and I'll put her in the link below, but I know many other people have done it. I'm going to be editing or recreating palettes that I've seen that I just don't like enough. So, without further ado, I guess let's just get right into it. So, I've never done one of these before, so I'm going to try and do picture-in-picture when I edit this so that you can see my creation more than you can see my face. But I guess we'll see once this video goes up how it actually works. And also, I apologize for the clothes on my bed. We're doing a bit of a closet clean out for my husband, so I just needed to take a break from that process and do something fun. So here I am, doing something fun and putting my money where my mouth is. Well, or my time where my mouth is, I guess. So first up, I have a whole video complaining about the Animal Crossing collection that Colourpop released. My number one gripe was that the palettes were quads. So I went ahead and I just created from scratch my own Animal Crossing Colourpop palette. I did go ahead and name this one. I just created my own names for it, and I used some of the ideas that were in the quads, and I don't know, I went somewhere a little bit different with it because this is just what I would have done. So it's completely different. It's actually a long palette, so it's 6 by 2. And I thought that was cute because it sort of incorporates the quad idea. There's 3 quads technically in one palette instead of being in separate palettes. And I wanted to have some neutrals as well as some pops of color, some light tones as well as some dark tones, and some shimmers as well as some glitters. So that takes all of the ideas that Colourpop had that I really liked from the palettes. Including even some of the colors that they used. Like the color that I named Nook Ink is pretty similar to the color in the Nook Boys palette, the quad. And Bells, of course, is very similar to the gold Super Shock that they put up. And then I made a gold that I just thought was, you know, better than the body shimmer that they made. I want it to be an eyeshadow because I just would never use glitter anywhere other than on my eyes. I included some other colors too, because when I have a palette that I use a lot, I really want it to be easy to create many looks, not just one look. I'm not just going to reach for this palette and get bored of it and do the same look 3 times and then never reach for it again. So I included some neutrals. You could do a whole neutral eye here if you really wanted to. And I included shades that I thought would look good on multiple different skin tones, not just on one skin tone. So I included a black shadow, which I know can be actually hard to pull off making a black shadow. Some companies just can't get anything other than gray. But I trust Colourpop to be able to do an actual matte black shadow. So I put that in here, and I named it after KK Slider, of course. I put a frosty glitter in that I named Snow because winter is one of my favorite Animal Crossing seasons to be able to run through the snow and play. And I included some other iconic colors that I think were sort of missed out on because we were so focused on characters that we didn't really get any of the other items from the series. Like fossils, so iconic from so many of the games. Fruits, which were incorporated into the lippies, but that I thought would be nice to include in the palette as well. And some iconic items like leaf and balloon. I just like what I did better. I wish I could make makeup of my own. You know, I even thought about actually making this palette real by purchasing single shadows, but Colourpop's website is sold out of almost all of their single shadows. You can't really do a build your own palette anymore, and every other website that does build your own palettes is really expensive. Levi! Hey, baby boy! Levi! He's angry at the trash man. Okay, I think that's over. So anyway, to finish off this palette, I included the classic leaf ground texture in just the triangle shape. You used to be able to get multiple green ground shapes, circles, squares, and triangles, but I love the triangle one, and so I would have done that on, you know, either the outside or the inside of the palette. I do like what Colourpop did idea-wise. I just don't really love the execution of it. So I just thought, if I didn't like it, why not show what I would have liked? Anyway, that was just my idea. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments below. If there's anything you would have done differently, or how you would have designed a palette if you got the chance to design an Animal Crossing palette. So, moving on. The next palette that many people were disappointed with as a release, and that I of course saw and would never have purchased in my right mind, was the Sims 4 palette that was released as a collaboration with MAC. And then when people really looked into it, it wasn't even a new palette. It was a recycled palette that was just packaged with Sims packaging, which is kind of sad because The Sims is a really fun, creative game, and the palette did not reflect any of The Sims anything. It didn't reflect the creativity, it didn't reflect the diversity, it didn't reflect, I don't know, anything. So I took the boring palette and I made it completely different. I just wanted it to be really, really bold and exciting. So when I looked at the Sims 4 cover art, what really stood out to me was the blues and greens. And of course, the green plumb bob on top of the Sim's head is super iconic. So I wanted the center to look like a green diamond with lots of different green shades. And then I put 4 blue shades on the outside. Some of them are shimmers, some of them are mattes. And I just thought this would have been way cooler. And a ton of people would have purchased this because to see MAC do something so bright and bold, and also because it would have felt more just true to The Sims in general, where you get to create your character, you get to create everything, you get to choose personality. Like, this has personality, whereas the original palette has no personality. Sorry, it's just a boring nude palette. Anyway, so that's what I would have done differently with this palette. What did you think of the Sims palette? And if you would create your own, what would you do for the colors? What stands out to you? Just in general. Okay, so my last palette for this video is a new release from a smaller company that I just happened to run across on Instagram, and it's a Deathnote palette based on the anime, which I have watched through, and I just felt that it was sort of lackluster, and a lot more could have been done with it. Like, it wasn't bad, but it just could have been a little better. So I went ahead and I created some more depth. I just, when I look at a palette and want to use it, I need there to be some lights and some darks. If there's only one choice for a transition shade, I'm just gonna get bored of that palette. So I don't really purchase things like that. So I went ahead and added another transition shade in a gray instead of having 2 black shades, a black shimmer and a black matte. I just took out the black matte and made it gray. And I renamed a couple of the shades because I just thought it was redundant to have light and Yagami be 2 different shades when that's the same person. And there was a character that I really liked that I thought was missing. So I named a color after Ren and made it purple. Sort of like the ends of her hair are purple. And I went ahead and kept all of the glitters as glitters and the mattes as mattes, so I didn't change those. But I did alter some of the shimmers or glitters that were on the left side. My left, it'll be your left too, right? So I made Mellows a little bit more gold than it was, and I changed the shade that was called Mikami completely, and I changed it to Kira, and I made that dark purple because I just feel like if you have red and blue in a palette, why not put purple in? It ties those both together so much. So you could do a really bold blue and red look, or you could do something a little bit more, I don't know, like of a transition-y look. And I definitely wanted to change the shade called Light from just a black shimmer to something that more reflects what his character is first of all, Light, he's named after the moon, actually. And so I wanted it to look a little bit like the moon. It has like gray gold in it, and I wanted it to be a light shade because the whole point is kind of like he feels like he's a good guy even though he's doing really bad things. So there's like a contradiction. And I made L's color really dark because he's sort of a brooding character, and so I made him the black glitter instead. And then I renamed the red shade, because I moved the name Kira to the purple. I renamed that one Heart Attack because it's such an iconic part of the series. If there's no reason for dying in Death Note, you die from a heart attack. So that's what I changed in the palette, and I feel like I totally could create many looks with this from how I changed it. Whereas when I look at the first palette, there's like, I don't know, 1 or 2 looks that I would do and probably get bored with it super fast. So anyway, that's all for me in this video. If you have any ideas of palettes that you did not like, or that you just felt weren't quite oomphy enough, comment those down below, and I'll see if any of those inspire me to fix them. I do have another one coming. I will be doing it right after filming this. So this is technically part 1, palettes I would change. Please be on the lookout for part 2. If you aren't subscribed to me already, please hit the subscribe and notifications button so you can see the next video in this series, fixing palettes that I don't like, or creating my own palettes, whatever strikes me for that day. So thank you guys for watching. Please have a wonderful rest of your day, and just, whatever, have fun. Love you. Thank you. Bye.